Good morning everybody, Matthew Cook here, the Tactical Dad, and I'm your host on the Tactical Dad podcast, and we are going to talk about an interesting topic, an essential thing to do, which is firearm maintenance and cleaning. So, let's get into it. Let's have a look at the various types of maintenance that are necessary for keeping your firearm both looking good and in good working condition, since the whole point of having one is to maybe one day have to use it. So if it doesn't work, then what are you doing? So let's really, you should be looking at inspecting your gun or guns plural regularly. And also, that's depending on how much you use them as well. If you're at the range every other day, then you should probably check it weekly. You should probably clean them weekly. So regular inspections, just to ensure that the gun is functioning properly, and it'll just help you identify any sort of like things, any potential problems, you know? Like the more you look at something, the more you're aware of all the little details, whereas if you glance at something every now and again, you don't pick up on the small things, and the small things are the big things in the end. Lubrication. Lubrication is essential, it's necessary to keep your gun running smoothly, and it also, the most important thing is it reduces the risk of your gun malfunctioning, which happens. So keep it lubricated. Cleaning. It's extremely necessary to remove dirt, debris, and other things that might contaminate your gun or guns, because that also leads to malfunctions, just like no lubrication and no cleaning. So keep a sort of like a regular schedule of cleaning. Again, depends on how much you use it, but important to, even if you're not using it much, just like still clean it every now and again. Still clean the gun or all of your guns every now and again, even if you don't use them that much, because you just never know, right? So very important to keep your guns clean. I think probably the main reason is just because it could malfunction, and the last thing you want is a gun to malfunction, because it's supposed to work, and when you need it the most, you want it to work. So here's some best practices, so to speak. So you got to use the right cleaning products, because there's a bunch of crap out there. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions. Like, even if you're, well, like if you're super experienced, you've probably done it a million times anyway. But if you're new, or you don't do it all that much because you don't shoot all that much, then always double check with the manufacturer's instructions. They're expensive pieces of equipment. You don't want to do it wrong. And you also need to be storing, like this is part of the whole piece too. You got to be storing your gun in the right place also, because if it's, I mean, you can't just leave it outside on the wall or on the bench, right? That'd be a terrible place to store it. Not just because it's unsafe, but because of the weather elements. It's gonna rot and erode your gun, rust, and all sorts of things are going to happen. Then it's definitely not going to work. So where you're storing it should be of quite a large importance. Secure location, locked up in a safe, a cabinet, something like that. It's got to be inaccessible to everybody except like an authorized user like yourself, depending on who you are, your husband or your wife. It's got to be only accessible to those people. So use the right cleaning products. Don't use some of the crap that's out there, because it might look good at the start, but then with the chemicals that are in it, could do some damage to the gun. You never know. So I use Ballistol cleaning oil. It's not specifically gun oil. Like, it doesn't say on the tin gun oil. It just says Ballistol oil, and it's quality. It's that Wolf oil, I think, is another one. There's a few really good ones. I use Ballistol because it's been around, I think, probably the longest. So I know one of its primary uses is with firearms. Even though they don't say Ballistol gun oil, it's used for it. So it's good stuff. Try that. Some tools, you'll need some tools and supplies for cleaning your gun. So you need some, as I made a little list here. So solvents, cleaning rods, patches, lubricants and grease, brushes, picks, cloths, or a rag, or something that you know is going to get oil and dirt on it, and it's fine. You can clean it off. Maybe even wear, you know, get yourself a t-shirt that you don't mind cleaning in, because no matter how good you are, you're probably going to get something on you. So solvents, really, they're used to break down the dirt, debris and other contaminants on the firearm. Rods and patches, cleaning rods and patches are used really just to scrub, brush, polish, remove some of that dirt that the solvent has been breaking down. Lubricants and grease are used to lubricate the firearm so that, you know, the function of it works smoothly, so reduce that risk of malfunctions. Brushes and picks, because even no matter how good of a job you do with the rods and the patches and your solvents, there's gonna be some hard to reach areas, or there's gonna be parts that have some hard pieces of dirt, or just things that you're gonna need to like kind of pick off and scratch off. So I have some brushes and picks used to reach those parts. Cloths, because you're going to want to wipe it down, so you can, you know, take off any of the final dirt and debris. And that's about it. That's pretty good care and maintenance for your firearm. There's a million kits out there. My company we don't sell one yet. We're looking into trying to find a manufacturer for one, but the samples we've got and the ones that we've received from different so-called expert companies across not just China but across the world, they're just not very good. We haven't come across a really good one yet, so we're trying. We might be another, God knows how many, 3 months, 6 months out before we sell our own that's of good quality. But when we get it, I'll share that with everybody on the podcast and everywhere else on our social media. But that's all really for firearm maintenance and cleaning. That's keeping your gun in good working order. That's all from me. I'll speak to you next time.